Hey everyone, this is Poorman369, and I will be reading a revised version of As I Watch the World End. Now, as some of you know, um, I already have this story up on my profile, and I will keep it um, just for being there, and so you can compare the two. I don't really know. Now, remember, I'm reading this out loud, and I have trouble doing that, so mistakes will be made. Here we go. As I watched the world end. As I sat in my room on the second floor in an apartment building located in Texas, I could watch the devastation of Washington, D.C., Salt Lake City, and New York. I knew at any time that Dallas would be hit. I stood up and looked out my window. I could see the evacuation choppers airlifting people to the safe bunkers several miles out of town. I knew I could not go. I, like many others, did not have a green card or correct papers and were not allowed access to the bunkers. I could hear the screaming from the second floor when I looked up, I could see what they were screaming at. A large bright light was in the sky that was trailed by a burning tail. There was nothing that I could do. I propped my seat in a corner and waited silent for the end to come. The ground shook and I could hear a thunderous crash. The television lights went out. I could see a wave of air rushing towards me through my window. I could see explosions from the helicopters that did not make it out of the city in time. My breath got heavy and I sat back in the back of my seat. I closed my eyes and gripped the armrests of my chair. Seconds later, everything went dark. I awoke, seeing the sky that had changed to a light red color. I was dazed and confused. Why was I not dead? I tried to stand, only to find my left leg missing. The wound did not bleed, it had been charred, and no came from the missing limb. The roof had been blown away, and the first floor had collapsed. I sat in my seat, and I tried to get out. The only way I could get out was to fall right out of the seat. I fell forward only to find myself falling 8 feet into the first floor. I climbed out, trying to get out of the building. Wood and rocks from the rubble were stabbing into my stomach and leg. Just before I got out of the building, I found a metal crutch laying in the rubble. I placed the crutch under my arm and started to walk forward. I looked up at the sky and thanked God for giving me a second chance to save myself. The road was covered in rubble and in some parts not even existent. That was not going to stop me. I shoved the crutch into the ground and headed down the road. Only the empty frames of the tall buildings remained standing. Only large piles of rubble remained of the rest of the city. My vision started to blur and then quickly returned to normal. My tongue was hard and dry, and my skin felt hot and covered in burns from the radiation. Times I would get dizzy and fall to the ground, where I would lay for several minutes before getting back up and continuing. My missing limb made walking difficult. The crutch was missing the pad at the top, and the metal dug into my armpit. Oftentimes the crutch would land in a hole in the ground, and without the one leg I would fall, and not being able to get up for several minutes till I got the strength to get back up and continue. Once out of the city, there were no trees, grass, flowers, or animals, only a bare wasteland with the wind blowing across it. My breathing was getting heavy and could no longer see out of my right eye. I could now feel the pain coming from my missing limb. The wind blew very fast, with nothing to stop its path across the wasteland. It wore away at my skin, sand getting into my burns and making them hurt worse. My tattered clothes doing nothing to stop it. I knew there was a shelter some miles out of Dallas. If I could get there, some of the people could help me. Finally, I could make something out in the distance. It was one of the shelters, a large concrete building that was covered the real shelter deep underground. It took several hours of walking to get to the entrance. I could see the helicopters that once flew people to the shelter, now laying in ruin, tossed all over the place. I found the door and yelled, and next to it was a button that looked like a speaker box. I pressed the button and started to yell, "Please, you must help me. I need help. You must let me in." I waited for several minutes, every second feeling like an hour, when finally a voice replied, "I am sorry. We cannot let anyone in. It would risk everyone in the shelter. Rest easy, my friend." And with that the voice was gone, and I was alone. I could no longer hold on. With that I dropped to the ground and lay there till death's cold grip would take me. The one thing that I held was the thought that I would be whole again in heaven. Well, that was it. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know. I've decided to keep with the title as I watch the world end. So, and I will think about writing a new story, or I might even put the first little bit of my longer story, which is currently titled New Dragon Story, seeing as I can't come up with one. And it is far from being complete, seeing as I'm rewriting it. And let me know if you guys want to hear it.